Hey folks, I'm Papa Boris, and in this video I'd like to teach you a strategy that I have devised that I think is really good at beating the current metagame in Seven Wonders Dice. Please know that this game has been out less than like a week on Board Game Arena, so the farther you are in the future watching this, the more likely it is that what I'm saying is no longer accurate, or maybe the strategy is no longer as effective. I don't claim that this is some incredible strategy, but if you are playing against people rated below a 200 ELO on Board Game Arena, or if you're playing with your friends and they're not that serious about the game, I believe that this strategy is going to be extremely effective and help you get a lot of consistent wins. So I'm going to break up the strategy guide into 3 parts. First, I'm going to outline what I think the current metagame is in Seven Wonders Dice. Then I'm going to explain how the strategy counters the metagame, and then we're actually going to review this game that I played against real people on Board Game Arena to see a kind of sample game for how the strategy can function. All right, let's go ahead and begin with the first part. So what is the current metagame in Seven Wonders Dice? I know, first of all, this is like a lightweight filler game, so it's a little bit weird to talk about a metagame, but I do think there is one. I think basically everybody plays science. When I play games on Board Game Arena right now and I look at people's boards after the game, almost everybody does science to some extent. There is one strategy article currently on Board Game Geek. Again, the farther in the future you are, the less likely that is to be true. But right now there's only one, and that strategy article, which has been well received, describes how to win the game with science. So it seems like just about everybody is playing science, and for good reason. The university is great. You get a really nice mix of useful bonuses, points, and of course the dice, which are extremely efficient and give you powerful options. They smooth out your probability curve. I mean, science is very strong. So one thing you can do, of course, is learn how to science better than other people. But I wanted to take a different approach. I wanted to be like, hey, is there a way that I can beat this metagame and do something different to attack the people, attack the metagame, as it were, considering all my opponents are probably going to be doing science? And there is a weakness to the science strategy, which is that it is slow. So the science approach, notice if you fill the university as one of your 3 buildings that are needed to trigger the end of the game, you're going to have to build in it 9 times. In the market, you only have to build 6. The barracks is only 6. The blue buildings are only 8. So the science just takes more buildings to finish. And it's not just that it's slow, it's also what we might call not very point dense. What I mean by that is that, for example, in the barracks and in the agora, everything you build gives you points. In the market, 3 of the 6 things that you build give you points. But in the university, only 4 of the 9 actions give you points. That is very low point density. It's the only thing that's less than half of the actions in it give you points. Now, you are getting these cool bonuses, you are unlocking these dice, so in future turns, you get some of that back by taking extra efficient, extra valuable actions. But that is how my strategy attempts to attack the metagame. If you assume that all of your opponents are going to be going for science, and you can end the game quickly with a high point density of turns, then you'll be able to trigger the end of the game and have more points than your opponents because you ended the game before they could get their engine going, and in the time that they had to play, they took, like up to 5 actions that gave them no points. Now, that's the general strategy. Let's talk a little bit more specifically. One thing I've noticed is that almost nobody goes for the market. This strategy will try to end the game early by finishing the market, which is only 6 actions, finishing the wonder, of course, which is only 3 and easy to do, and then usually building the agora, although I did a count, and of the 7 wonders, actually only 4 of them do I go for the agora. In the other 3, there's like a special case kind of thing going on, and I do something different, but most of the time, 4/7 of the time, depending on your wonder board, you will get the agora for your 3rd and final building that is needed to trigger the end of the game. In the market, there are 6 buildings, but this is, in my opinion, a bit illusory because one of the buildings gives you a warehouse. So whatever number of resources you were planning to play the game with, if you build this building, you can take the gray die 1 less time. So this is replacing a die you would have taken otherwise anyway. So the market's really only like 5 actions. That's the general outline. Now here's how we do it specifically. So we're going to build 2 buildings in the warehouse. We're going to fill out the market, which will give us our 3rd building, and we're going to ride the game out with just 3 resources. I've noticed looking at other players' boards that people frequently take the gray dice 3, 4, sometimes even 5 times. So if you take the gray die just twice, okay, 3 times-ish if you count this building as part of the market, then you save an action or two compared to your opponents, plus the actions that you're saving compared to the stuff that they're doing in the university that's not scoring them many points, saves you actions versus your opponents and helps you race to finish the end of the game. So we're going to just do 2 buildings here, finish the market, finish the wonder, finish the blue buildings. The other thing I'll note about the market is it gives you coins. You get 7 coins here, let's say 3 coins here, 4 or 5 coins here usually. And with this one, I actually try not to do it after finishing the whole wonder for reasons that we'll see. I try to do this after finishing 2 stages, so this will often give you 4 coins. So you're getting 4 coins from the market, and that helps you finish the game and have enough resources to build all the stuff that you need to build without spending more than 2 of your turns taking gray dice. Now, the strategy is not entirely brain dead, so we'll now replay this game with this wonder, which I actually don't know which one this is. This could be the statue of Zeus or the mausoleum. I don't know which one it is. If you know, please tell me. I'd love to know about it. But anyway, this is the one where the first 2 stages give you an extra action, but the extra action has to be to take a die from the forum, and the cost of the die is reduced to 0. I'm using the compact forum interface here. I hope this makes sense. So instead of this, it just tells you what the die was rolled and which section of the forum it's in by coin count, so I can fit everything under the interface. Also, the board game arena replay is a little bit clunky, so I apologize. There's going to be a little bit of clicking and pausing as we go through this game. Okay, so let's begin. This first turn is pretty easy. I do get a little bit of a lucky start here. We have a papyrus, which on this board happens to cost 0, and it's in the 0 space. So I get one of my 2 resources for free on the first turn, which is very good. I will also note, by the way, that in this playthrough, I happened to be up against an opponent with a 324 elo, which at the time was like around the top 100. So this is a fairly serious opponent, so it shows that the strategy, at least as a proof of concept, can work really well. On this turn, there's a really critical moment, which is you need to take the camel here. This is actually quite fortunate. The camel showed up on 0, and you got to take it, and you got to build the resource that way. This may seem a little bit counterintuitive, like, well, why not just take one of these resources, and then this will be free later? But the thing is, there's 3 gray dice. They're much more likely to show up in the cheap spaces of the forum and let you get that 3rd resource that you need, whereas the camel only shows up a 1/3 of the time, and it may not show up on 0. So if you are going for the strategy, you need to take the camel here and pay the coin to get this space while you have the chance. I also choose to cross off the cloth because that's a little bit less likely to be rolled in the future. So for my 3rd resource, if possible, I want to leave open the ones that cost, not that they cost 0, because the cost is irrelevant. You know, a cost of 1 when you've already had a resource is the same as a cost of 0, but these are just show up slightly more often than the cloth. So it's just a little bit of a probability boost. Okay, so here I'm battling with the board game arena replay interface. Okay, and we have our new turn. So on this one, again, I have to admit, I got a pretty lucky start. A lot of the replays that we're going to see in the future, I'll try to do a playthrough with all 7 of the wonders to show how the strategy can be effective. We're going to see some more challenging openings, but in this one, it's pretty lucky. I need another gray resource this game, and there's one available here for a cost of 0, so I'm going to grab it. All right, so this turn is our first somewhat challenging turn because what I would like to do is start building in the buildings or, start finishing the market. I don't need any more gray resources at this point. And in this turn, it's not exactly ideal to do that because the building costs 2 coins. I only have 6 at the moment. I could take a chest. This would be a little bit, it's 2 coins. It's a bit expensive. I get 3 coins back, but it doesn't net me any coins. So it's not ideal either, but this is a game of taking non-ideal turns. You actually could build a stage of the wonder here to reduce the cost of taking this chest to 0 and then take the chest. Here, I just took the chest, but maybe it actually would have been correct to build the first stage of the wonder and get that out of the way. You want to generally use this wonder when there's a die that you want in the forum, but it is expensive to take it. All right, on this turn, we have another slightly challenging situation because there is a building that I could start building, or I could build a Stage of the Wonder and get this camel. I do need to do that at some point. Here I decide to go for the Wonder, and I grab that camel for 0 coins, and I get the 7 coins here. You could take this. The earlier that you take it, the more valuable it is. But I decide, since I was a little bit low on coins, I was at 7 after doing that, I thought, let's just go up to 14, and even if I miss a little bit of value from that, I'm okay with it. All right, on this turn, I have a pretty easy choice. Let's start pounding the buildings. So I grab my first one. Note that that building does have a cost. I had to spend money to build it, but that's fine. Do not get any more resources. You don't need them. That's part of the value of this strategy, is that the coins from the market make it possible for you to not need more than 2 gray dice over the course of the game. There will be other replays in which I end up having to pass a turn sometimes or take the yellow die with the 7 coin thing, but the strategy is so fast that a lot of the time you're actually able to like lose a turn and still be okay. So here I built in the Agora. I think actually that might have been a mistake. There was an opportunity here to build my next Stage of the Wonder and grab this chest and get that going. I think that actually may have been the more precise play, but I decided to pay 1 coin to build in the Agora and then go on to the next turn. All right, here I could build a Stage of the Wonder and build the last camel, or I could build this building. I decide to go for the camel. The drawback of this is that it means that my camels are filled. Generally speaking, you want to kind of like try to balance everything so that on any given roll, you have the highest probability possible of being able to do something productive. So I'm not 100% sure that was the correct play, but it does unlock this. So now my cost of taking the die is either 0, 1, or 2, and it'll be 0 half the time, which is very strong. All right, so here we have a pretty easy choice. The market die is a brick. I have plenty of coins, so I don't need to take 7 here, so it makes sense just to build a building. Now, it is a little bit unlucky. Now, my statue is filled, so if, or whatever that is, the face. If that face is rolled on the blue die for the rest of the game, then on that turn, I can't build in the Agora, which is a downside. Here, you ideally would like to spread around the symbols so that on any given roll you have the highest possible chance of being able to do something productive, but I find that very rarely do you actually get the ideal scenario in 7 Wonders dice. All right, here we have a very good roll. The chest showed up for me, 0 coins. So I can go ahead and fill in a space in the market. I actually make a mistake here. This is wrong. I should not have taken this. I should have taken this. For reasons I'll explain in a bit, you want to take this generally when you've only built 2 stages of the Wonder, not 3. I was still a little bit new to my own strategy at this time, and I didn't realize that yet. The reason for that is that you want to reserve your last space of the Wonder so that when you finish it, which you can always do no matter what the dice roll, you can then grab this wild card and finish the last slot of your building. Now, again, it's not ideal, but ideally, you build all but one of the spaces of your Agora, you finish your market, and then you build the Wonder, grab your wild card, and then you're guaranteed to be able to finish it and trigger the end of the game. By taking this, I am throwing a coin away, because if I take it, I'm only going to get 4 coins from this no matter what, but if I waited, I would have gotten an extra coin for that one. All right, so here we have a little bit of a tough situation. The market die is a brick, but luckily I can build the owl, so I'm gonna do that. We're just trying to finish the Agora as soon as possible. And that costs 0, thankfully, because I did unlock this space of the market already. All right, here, admittedly, I got a really amazing roll. We got the chest. Now, you could argue, well, don't finish this. Go ahead and keep building blue buildings while you have a chance, and then you can leave this to fill in later, kind of keep it balanced. That is, to be honest, something I'm not sure about. Maybe it is correct to just leave that open so that on any given roll, I can either build a blue building or finish the chest. Now, if the blue dice does not give a symbol I can build, then I can do nothing. It is worth noting, though, on this particular board, The wildcard university building is a blue building, so my odds of actually getting the blue building I want are pretty high. Even when I'm down to just one square, there's a 1/3 chance I get that one, and there's also a 1/3 chance that the science die rolls this wheel. Now, the odds that they both fail are 2/3 times 2/3, which is 4/9, which means that I have a 5 in 9 chance, so higher than a coin flip chance of getting the thing I need, even when there's only one blue building left. So in this particular case, finishing the market is fine, just to kind of get ahead. So I take the extra action here, not the wild card, because I want to leave the wild card open. With the wonder, since I'm able to use the Agora die, I use the extra action and fill it in. All right, so now I'm just trying to end the game. I just need to build 2 more spaces in the Agora, and then I build the wonder and I finish it. I get a little bit lucky. Again, the mask is a dead roll, so there's always a 1 in 6 chance that I roll dead. But I didn't roll the mask, I rolled the scales, and that's actually great because you want the last 2 spaces to not be in the same row and to not be in the same column, because that maximizes your odds of rolling a useful side. Right now, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 symbols I can roll that let me build in the Agora, whereas if they were in the same row or the same column, there would still be 3, so it's a coin flip, but there's a big difference between a coin flip and a 2/3 chance. As it happens, I win my 2/3 odds. I get a 0 gold cost building here. I can finish it. And now I am guaranteed to be able to trigger the end of the game next turn, because I'm, no matter what, going to be able to build my wonder, grab this wild card, finish the Agora. All right, so what the dice rolled here doesn't make any difference. For the record, I actually did roll the owl, but make sure you don't actually take the owl, because if you take the owl and build it, you cannot use this wild card to build the wonder. I do want to trigger the end of the game. So even though I got lucky and won my 1/3 odds, the correct play is to finish the wonder, use the unnecessary wild card to finish the Agora. Oh yeah, okay, I should mention this. Technically, the optimal play is if you haven't used this yet, to build in the university to get your wild card from that to then finish the Agora. And the reason for that is that now, if this wheel shows up, I can use it to get 3 points. The odds of this mattering are pretty low because a sword, an axe, or a shield can all give me 3 points. But if for the sake of argument, like this is penalized because my West opponent built shields, and this is penalized because my East opponent built shields, and then the military die rolls one of those, then like that would only be 2 points, and if I got the wheel, I get 3 points. It's like an extra point that you can maybe sneak in. So a little bit of a flourish there. If you haven't used this yet, use this instead of just getting your last Agora spot directly. All right, so now this is the final turn. And I can't build any more buildings. There's nothing left to do, but I can take a shield for 3 points. So that's what I do. And now we're going to get to the end of the game. So remember, this opponent rated over 300 ELO, around one of the 100 best players on Board Game Arena, was in this game. And we're going to do a little scoring comparison at the end to see how it ends. So my wonder gives me 10 points. I don't really get any military points. Nobody really went for military too much this game. Of course, I smashed the Agora for 38 points. Nihilium, our top player here, also did. I got a bunch of points from the market, so did my top opponent. I got nothing from science. And this opponent actually got some guild points, and they filled out their gallery of leaders. They got all 6 of these. So they played an insane game. They were very efficient. I think they also got kind of lucky, but they still lost by 4 points because despite the extra science point, despite the guild, and despite getting lucky enough to roll all 6 of these over the course of a very short game, the actions that they took not getting points in their science buildings were the difference that allowed me to catch up. So what we're going to do is take a look at the opponent's boards at the end of the game and see how they compared to what I was able to do with this strategy. We're going to go in reverse order here. So we're going to start with Scooby Sam. Notice how this person played a lot of university, and there's 1, 2, 3 actions in here that didn't score them any points, and also they never used the guild die, so this really was just a totally useless grab. They were kind of spread out, they built their wonder, but they didn't, really focus, so they didn't get a lot of points. Now, if we take a look at the next player, Jean Wunner, this person also went for science. They had 4 actions here that did not give them any points. Oh, and I should mention, they built 3 buildings in the warehouse. Remember, in the strategy, we only build 2. Scooby Sam also built 3, so they wasted an action here not getting points, and the additional university actions not getting points. Now, here's our top 100 player. So they got a guild. They got the entire gallery of leaders. They were focused in the university, getting just these dice and ignoring that row. They got decent chunk of points from the Agora, and they got a decent chunk of points from the market. But they took the gray die 4 times. That's 2 more than me. They also got 1, 2, 3 dice in here that did not score them any points. This is a little bit inaccurate because they actually got those sort of for free from their wonder, but still that's some benefit that they got that did not score them points. So that's 2 extra actions here and 3 extra actions here. So that's 5 extra actions that they took that did not score them points. Then they proceeded to get some of that efficiency back and got 6 points per action for each of these. They played a good game and I think got pretty lucky, but because I got lucky as well, I still was able to win with this strategy. So I hope that this video is a nice proof of concept that this anti-meta strategy can work. By focusing on the market and just building your wonder in Agora, just pounding those as quick as you can get scores that compete with the top players. And if you're playing against people, like I said, below 200 ELO, you have the opportunity to smash them really consistently.